All right, hey everybody.
Hey everyone on Facebook and YouTube. We're also live on our app and website, right?
That's right, we're live on everything. We're
Yeah.
doing that work from home thing that many of your parents may be doing right now, or many of you yourselves. If you're tuning in for our Cloudy with a Chance of Learning segment today, it's all about air quality.
And this is going to be an interesting topic, especially since we're looking at warmer weather. Weather can play a huge role in air quality, especially right here in the city of San Antonio.
Yeah.
So Eddie says, yay, that it's starting. Yeah, we've been working through some technical stuff since we're at home. So, of course, there is going to be a little bit of a lag time there. But today's topic is all about air quality. What is it? How does it affect us? How weather affects air quality? And this is something that I think, even though we're staying home, it really evolves around our entire life, or revolves around our entire life. So air quality plays a big role in how we live every day.
Yeah, you may run into some people even run into breathing issues and stuff when it comes to air quality. People with asthma sometimes run into that issue, and there's all sorts of different things that impact us here with air quality, even if you maybe don't have breathing problems from air quality issues.
Right. So like Andrew and I were just talking about, air quality affects how we live and also how we breathe. So it is the most common form of air pollution in San Antonio is something called ground level ozone.
Yeah.
And so it plays a big role when we're talking about, transportation, facilities like industrial facilities, when we're riding the bus around the city, or also when we're stuck in traffic. So the gas vapors can play a huge role in that.
Yeah, and the amount of traffic could lead to worse ground level ozone. You notice that the traffic's not too bad today. That's actually why we have the traffic map up there just below us, kind of looping around. You see not a lot of people out on the roads as we all continue to practice this social distancing.
Definitely. So moving on here, ground level ozone forms mostly on warm and sunny days. So now that we're in the spring season, we'll be transitioning to summer soon. Of course, we have temperatures in the 90s yesterday and also today. The warm and sunny days can play a huge role, especially when we're looking at a calm wind. We also have a calm wind. And sometimes when you're looking at San Antonio, mainly the city as a whole, you can kind of see this smog and this haze. So that'll kind of give you a clue, and it's kind of evident that, hey, we could be dealing with some air pollution and air quality problems.
Yeah, we see it sometimes from our sky cam. Whenever we're looking towards downtown from Northwest San Antonio, sometimes it's hard to see downtown because of air pollution. And that's exactly what you're talking about right there. Yeah.
Right. So let's talk about sunlight, which is exactly what we're looking at outside today. So the sunlight can cause chemicals to mix together and form this ground level ozone. So you were talking about high pressure earlier today. Do you want to kind of dive into the high pressure aspect?
Yeah. Whenever we are in the middle of the summer, when it's really hot outside, typically when we all head out to the pools and try to find ways to cool off, maybe the family turns on the sprinkler in the yard. That is going to be those really hot days where we have high pressure directly over us. Remember, high pressure is sinking air, not rising. That's sinking air. And if we have air just kind of stuck at the surface, because it'll sink down and it'll get kind of stuck right there at the surface, that could cause all the pollutants to be down near the surface. And we could have air quality alert days sometimes in the summertime, because we have so much pollutants down to the surface whenever we have that high pressure and it's hot. You're talking about that heat.
And the heat dome. That's typically what we call the area of high pressure, especially during the summer months. So we have a lot of folks joining us. Hi from Addison. Hey, Addison, glad that you're joining us today. Thanks from Bandera, Texas, and good afternoon, San Antonio. That's from John. And John, glad you're joining us. So
and Ashley says hello from Ashley in fourth grade says hello. Hello to you. Ainsley. It's Ainsley.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Ainsley from fourth grade. Happy that you're here.
I missaw your name. I'm sorry. Ainsley.
And then Andrea is also joining us. So one thing I do want to point out about air quality is we're actually sitting at 54 today in San Antonio, and it's because of the warm, sunny day. We kind of still have that ground level ozone that we were just talking about. So this is the air quality index, and at times you're going to see AQI. So that's kind of the abbreviation there. And you can see we go from good in the greens, moderate in the yellows, unhealthy for sensitive people and insensitive groups in the orange, and then we have unhealthy for everyone in the reds, very unhealthy in the purple, and then you get up to hazardous, which is that maroon color. So today we're actually moderate. Can we actually just pull up this graphic full? So
yeah, let's go ahead and pull it up so everyone can see it.
I know it can be a little tricky to read because the words are so small. Looking at this. All right, so looking at this, you could see the moderate in the yellow. So that's where we sit. That's from 51 to 100. That's the numerical value. And what that means is air quality is acceptable. However, for some pollutants, there may be a moderate health concern for a very small number of people who are unusually sensitive to air pollution. So
that'd be people with like really bad asthma, I'm willing to guess. So sometimes really bad asthma can be triggered by lower air quality.
Yeah, and so you know, sometimes in the summer months we could get up to unhealthy, and that is when it really impacts everyone, and everyone kind of experiences, you know, these health effects. You know, they can have sensitivity with breathing. That's really when you want to stay indoors, kind of maybe want to work out inside as well.
Yeah, and those would typically be more of our air quality alert days, but again, that's not our issue today. Right now, we're just sitting at a moderate level, and it's the lower end of the moderate. You said 54, correct?
It is 54, so it's kind of the lower tier of that moderate level. You know, the past couple of days, really last week, we were on the good side, so air quality was considered satisfactory. So a lot of us didn't see any breathing or health impacts or effects from the air pollution. But today we are moderate in San Antonio, so because of the sunshine and because of the unseasonably warm weather, it looks like the forecast is predicting for San Antonio to stay in that moderate yellow level for the next couple of days. So we'll bring us back on camera here. Okay, there we go. So there's the index. That's the air quality index. And again, you'll sometimes see the abbreviation AQI. So that's what that stands for. So let's go through this here and let's talk about the ingredients that we need. So first we need sunlight, plus you have VOCs and NO, which means nitrogen oxide. So what VOCs are, they're volatile organic compounds. So now we're starting to get into the nitty-gritty chemistry of air pollution.
Yeah, so even going beyond meteorology here, we're going into another kind of field, chemistry. You know, science is all kind of intertwined. We'll talk about other sciences with meteorology, but sometimes we'll leave that meteorology field, we'll go more into chemistry. It's you kind of need to know a little bit about. We don't know, as meteorologists, we may not know a ton about chemistry, but we have to at least know a little bit. And that's something important to know, that whenever you are a scientist, you have to know at least a little bit about each field.
Think of the water cycle, H2O, that's chemistry. 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen atom. So like I said, I mean, we had to take a chemistry course in college back in the day. And yeah, it's just crazy to see how, you know, science is kind of all applied together. And yeah, there's just a lot of chemistry in meteorology.
Oh, yeah.
And also with lightning, too, which we've talked about in the past with positive and negative charges and those causing lightning strikes. But I'm getting a little off track here. So the big thing to know is that chemistry plays a big role in this. So we talked about VOCs. That's volatile organic compounds. I know 3 big words there. And then we have nitrogen oxide, which is emissions from motor vehicle exhaust, industrial facilities, gasoline vapors, and chemical solvents. So when those two come together, you get this mixing from the sunlight. This is what actually forms that ozone layer, that ground level ozone. And that's one of our our primary concerns when it comes to San Antonio air pollution is that ground level ozone. And I know sometimes, you know, driving into work, we kind of get that skyline view and you can see some of the haze in the city there.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of that is from, you know, just one of the first things we see there, emissions from motor vehicles exhausts.
Right, so this is everyday things that you see. This is why taking the bus is important.
Carpooling.
Yeah, carpooling, limiting the amount of transportation, walking and biking. So this is when it comes to, you hear a lot about saving the planet, taking buses, limiting, traffic. So sitting in traffic, and also sitting in traffic, maybe that has to do with construction, just limiting all that and making that drive time a little bit shorter. So this is really what contributes to that ozone layer, and also the air pollution.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes you get this in areas where there could be a lot of factories too. Some of those chemical solvents and things like that. But thankfully, there's a lot of things that I don't want to downplay factories or anything. There's a lot of things factories do to make sure that the emissions are a lot lower. So I want to just make sure we say that too.
But you are going to see this a lot more in cities.
Yeah, typically, because there's more people. Yeah.
And I've heard that one of the cleanest places in Texas, as far as, towns and city goes, would be Amarillo.
Really?
Over the Panhandle. Yep. It's one of the cleanest cities.
Wow.
So less air pollution there.
Very cool.
We've driven through it. And if you've driven through it, there's a lot of land. It's not that big.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And a lot of things to see, though. The Cadillac Ranch. We've seen Cadillac Ranch ourselves. So just lots of fun things, though, in Amarillo too.
Yeah. So let's look at what our air pollution is now. We've made this cool map, and we've talked about air quality being at a moderate level in San Antonio. Up into Austin, it's moderate. Dallas, it's moderate. Waco, they're looking at good air quality. Houston, also at a moderate level. So like I said, you see this trend of the bigger cities, like Corpus Christi, also moderate. And then you get into some of our southern counties, like Webb County, for example, still looking at moderate pollution. Air quality.
Yeah, and that Corpus Christi, they started off this morning, I believe, with a good amount of fog. So that means that a lot of the air's down at the surface. That would make sense that they're dealing with a little bit more pollutants, because all the air, again, it's a calm atmosphere. Everything's down towards the surface. So that would make more sense.
So we typically see, the worst air quality during the summer months, really when we start heating up. You talked about area of high pressure playing a huge role, the heat dome, when air is sinking. Sunlight plays a huge role, and of course we get the VOCs and also the nitrogen oxide. So remember those two things, and when you have the sunlight plus those two, that equals the ozone.
Yeah, and Megan, are we able to zoom this map out more? Does it show other areas?
So let's see if we can kind of go toward the east here. I know we have a little bit of delay and lag on our graphics.
You'll notice the areas further off to the east in Louisiana, Mississippi. That's where the front just kind of moved through more recently, and that likely knocked a lot of the pollutants out of the air. So that lets you know, we had a full afternoon yesterday of hot conditions, and the high pressure could really settle in, and that could cause our pollutants to come back sooner for Southeast Louisiana. Not saying that this will happen, but Southeast Louisiana and into South Mississippi and even Central Louisiana, they could see more pollutants in the atmosphere starting tomorrow.
Yeah, so tomorrow, speaking of the Gulf of Mexico, because I see it here, we're going to be talking about Tropical Tuesday.
We are, yeah. Tropical Tuesday is going to be going on tomorrow. We're going to talk a little bit about some historic storms that have hit the state of Texas. I'm going to give y'all a little bit of a quiz here. Who knows the worst storm to ever hit the state of Texas? Not the worst storm. I would say the deadliest storm. To ever hit the state of Texas. And then the costliest storm. 2 different storms, actually. So that's going to be my big question for today. And we're going to talk more about those tomorrow.
All right, we're looking forward to it.
Oh, yeah.
So I believe that wraps up air quality. Barbara says hello from West Virginia. Hey, Barbara, I'm glad that you're joining us. Steven says he misses the Spurs and chicken on the stick. I've heard a lot about that on social media. I've had a friend who's lived here for several years in San Antonio, and she's always ranting and raving about the chicken on the stick. So,
I'm sorry that we couldn't be doing it right now. This was going to be our first fiesta.
Yeah, it was going to be.
Yeah, so we're excited for November, and then of course next year maybe we get kind of closer back-to-back fiestas. Just a couple months of a break.
Yeah, we'll have to
we get a little trial run and then go full-on fiesta mode.
Yeah, Steven also adds that he misses the smell of the market square food. Yeah, I just miss eating at restaurants in general. So.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, we feel you, Steven. We really do.
You know, do you in your rundown here on the show, do you have the 7-day forecast that we could pull up for today?
So let's see.
So let's talk a little bit about the 7-day forecast. Remember, hot conditions, lots of sunshine, and calmer winds typically we will have. And if there's a lot of people out driving, we'll typically have more of higher air quality issues. Sorry,
it's a Monday.
Air quality issues.
It's a Monday.
But rain can also help to kind of clear the atmosphere. We have some rain on Wednesday. Maybe even a few strong storms. That's going to be a marginal to slight risk. So make sure you go over your severe weather action plan with your family. The higher risk for severe weather is going to be off to our northeast. So it's not so much for our area. Don't be expecting it. But there could be a storm or two that could be strong to severe. And a lot of hot days ahead of us, Megan.
I missed the 60s. You know, I actually felt...
You mean for highs, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I missed the 60s as high temperatures, and, you know, I felt the fall vibes a couple of days ago. And yesterday we hit 94. Today we're going to hit the low 90s again, and we'll just stay in this unseasonably warm weather pattern for several days. So that could definitely impact our air quality. And like I said, the prediction for air quality is it's going to stay at that moderate level, not only today, but also Tuesday into Wednesday. So even though we have rain in our forecast on Wednesday, still expect some problems as far as the air quality goes. It may impact, if you've had asthma, may have some effect. The air quality may have some effect on your breathing issues. And so even though we're looking at rain on Wednesday, it's still going to stay hot. A lot of us aren't going to see rain either.
Yeah, and something important to know, you know, out towards a lot of the Texas state parks that are further away from the cities, we tend to not have as much air pollution.
Yeah.
So Texas state parks reopened today. So if your family likes to go to Texas state parks, that would be a great idea. Just remember, there is something that they require now, though. You have to wear a face mask if you're going to be at the state park, and you also need to continue to practice social distancing. So a lot of great hikes. That's a good way to get away from air pollution. And a lot of great hikes to do. Of course, here in South Texas, there's Government Canyon State Natural Area, Lost Maples, there's Garner State Park, there's Enchanted Rock, there's let's see here, Guadalupe River State Park. There is the caverns. Which caverns?
Interspace.
And Interspace is up I-35. I know that.
Yeah, I love Interspace Caverns.
But there's Kickapoo Caverns. There's Devil's River State Natural Area.
Longhorn Caverns.
That's right. That's just north of our area, kind of up towards Inks Lake, which is also a state park. There's all sorts of different things to do outside. Just remember, you continue to practice that social distancing, y'all.
Yeah, and just be careful, especially if you have asthma or if air quality tends to impact you, since we are looking at moderate levels today.
Yeah, and we also have, you know, oak is coming in heavy today on the allergen report. We also have mold coming in medium. We have pecan coming in medium. I haven't seen pecan at a medium level so far this year until now.
Yeah, same.
And then we have mulberry at a light level, and grass at a light level.
So it's a pollen party then.
Yeah, speaking of things that can kind of give you some issues sometimes it gives me a little bit of a cough myself with allergens in the air. That's something beyond the beyond the air pollution that could bother you.
Yeah, definitely. So Matthew is joining us. Hey, Matthew, glad that you're joining us today. Bobby's watching. And Seth says, hi, Megan. Hi, Andrew. Hey, Seth. You're one of our loyal Facebook Live viewers.
Yeah, so is Matthew. And Matthew, don't worry. If you missed some stuff, you can always go back and watch it again, because we keep these up here so that everyone can tune in and watch it.
I think that's going to wrap up today, you guys. So we have a busy rundown. We'll be talking about the tropics. And of course, if you take any notes with, you know, our Cloudy with a Chance of Learning classrooms, you can either email us, or you could also post your pictures to social media, but use the hashtag Kins5Eyewitness. And we'll do our best to, you know, talk about those fun stories and share your posts. Yeah,
and guys, come back tomorrow, share your stories about some tropical systems that you've experienced. One that I've experienced was Katrina. I didn't experience it on the coast. I was in central Mississippi, but I'm going to talk a little bit about Katrina. I'm going to talk a little bit about Nate tomorrow. Hurricane Nate, when it hit the Mississippi Gulf Coast. I was less than a mile from the beach when Nate made landfall. And I was right where Nate made landfall, like right on the beach. And I had to drive home the next morning, and I had to take the beach, and there was debris and pier all over the road and the highway. And I'm going to talk a little bit about some of that stuff, some stories from hurricanes that I've experienced. And we're also going to talk about, of course, those historic Texas storms. By the way, the big one that most people remember is Harvey, but that's not the deadliest storm to ever hit the Texas coast. By the way, the deadliest storm to ever hit the Texas coast, to ever hit the United States, excuse me, the deadliest storm to ever hit the United States hit Texas.
Well, there you go. So tomorrow's going to be a big history lesson then.
Oh, yeah. Big history lesson and a lot about tropical meteorology and our Lone Star State.
Yeah, so it's going to be very interesting. Anything else you want to add?
No, I think that's about it. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Keep coming back each week. You know, we're going to talk about all sorts of fun and interesting topics. Again, if you missed out on some of this, you can rewind it and watch it here on Facebook. You can watch it on YouTube. And remember, we're also live on our app, and we're on the website too. But if you wanted to watch it over, you have to watch it on Facebook and YouTube.
All right, so we'll see you guys later, and we hope you have a safe week.
Yep, and remember, tune in to Ken's 5 at 4, 5, 6, and 10. Weather Chief Bill Taylor is off this week, but meteorologist Meagan Massey is going to be on for him.
Yes, so I will be filling in today. Got a lot of weather updates for you.
Oh, yeah. Y'all have a great one, though.